All right, guys. So I did a thing. I did a thing that some is not going to believe. I did a thing that's probably going to shock a lot of people, but I did a thing. Oh, thing may be stupid, but I did it.
I'd say he's a nut job.
All right, guys. Before I show you this, I want to say this. Most of you know me as an old school guy. You know me for the Galaxy, um, and nothing's going to change about that. The Galaxy is still uh, top billing. We actually have new parts on the way this week for the Galaxy, and we're going to have it back on track very soon. But I wanted to do something a little different. Um, I have been fighting with every bit of me the urge to step into the modern world. I'm a carburetor guy, and you know that. But sometimes you have to break down and embrace what the world is trying to tell you. So I did that in a big way. All right, y'all ready for this? Yeah, yeah. Now I'm going to have to rely heavily on some of you guys to know what to do in the fuel injection world. But let's take a look at what we've got, and then we'll talk about why we got this. And hopefully, some of you guys will understand this journey. So, this is a 2024 Mustang GT 5-liter, the Coyote engine. And of course, because it's me, the 6-speed transmission. There's a lot of little hidden gems about this car that's really cool. We'll look at a bunch of them. One of the things that is really cool, I don't know if it'll come across on camera, the way the glare is, but right across here is an outline of every generation Mustang across the back. It's not going to come out with that glare on it. I'll try to get a photo or something of it inserted. I think that's really cool how they pay homage to the past. But this is what I chose to dive into the modern world. Kicking and screaming, but I mean it now. Uh, this one has, of course, the Coyote in it, which is an insane looking engine. This is actually a functional hood scoop on this car. Um, let's take a look at the engine real quick. That is a whole lot of something I know nothing about, other than look at the absolute mass of that engine. I don't know if it comes off on camera, but that's bigger than any FE I've ever ran. Uh, Dual throttle bodies. These are dual. These are the cone-shaped air filters, and they have fresh air ducts that go right to the nose right here. So it's like a ram air style system. As I said, these are functional vents. Uh, yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff I don't understand right there. Gonna be learning, I guess. It is truly, truly an impressive car to drive. Now we'll look at the inside in just a second. But so this thing has something. I'll have to look at the paperwork to see what it was worded as. Um, I think it's called a track pack or something along those lines. I'll have to look at the paperwork to see what it was called. But apparently, nuts the brass tacks of it is it's 18 more horsepower for what that's worth. And I don't know what's special about it to gain that 18 extra horsepower. Probably somebody on something and got it. But this was a hard car to find. I actually looked for this car or this setup, not necessarily this color, but this setup for weeks. I wanted manual transmission, had to be the Coyote, and it had to have cloth interior, not leather. My wife absolutely hates leather interior, and if I want to do something like this, you better give her something out of it. The hardest part to find was all the stuff that I wanted in a cloth interior, because basically what I wanted with that extra pack, that track pack thing, basically what I wanted in the car came in the premium GT, which leather interior is standard in premium GT. So I had to find a premium GT downgraded to cloth interior, if you know what I mean, which was not easy to find. And my mom was with me when I picked it out, and she liked the red. So give all the ladies something in your life to like about it. My wife's got the cloth interior, my mom got the red, and I got the fun. Let's take a look at the interior. It's the little things for me. When I go to open the door, you can see the window. It's the little things for me. I haven't taken paper out of there yet. So let's get in and take a look around. So we have two large displays here, and this controls pretty much everything, but it's a pretty cool, other than the fact these displays stick up, it's a pretty cool looking interior. I love the fact it's got the throwback to the old Mustangs with the lockout reverse. I like all that. It's a very, very cool car. Uh, I am absolutely in love with this thing, and absolutely scoots. So from the what I was told, or I understand, the what the paperwork says and what the internet says, and again, I am an absolute dummy on new cars. The base Coyote is 480 something horsepower, 484, something like that, 485. I don't remember the exact number. And then when you add this pack or this package onto it, it gives it another 18 horsepower. So it's a 500. Let's just say 500 horsepower and like 480 or something like that foot-pounds of torque. And you can feel every bit of them. It makes peak horsepower at 7,200 RPMs. Is what I've seen. And I can tell you that I do not aggressively drive on the roads because that would not be legal. But if hypothetically one was to aggressively drive on the road, it pulls every bit of that 7,200 RPMs and pulling. So it is a very, very wild car. And I have seen numbers about ETs on this car. It has some very unique features, which I will show you in a moment. Get back home and we will go over some of the unique features and then why I picked this particular car. All right, so let's take a look at some of the neat features on this thing here. First, we'll go over here to this screen and let's do my Mustang here. And these are a lot of the things that you can do to customize not only the screen, but the sound. I don't know if you can hear the exhaust out there, but we can change the exhaust note with these buttons here. Hold on, let me open the door. Oh, it's gonna make a noise because the door's open. Hang on. I don't know if you can hear it, but now you can't hear anything but the air conditioning blowing. It's so quiet. And we've got uh, a normal exhaust. This is quiet, no sound. A normal exhaust. Then we've got sport. Then we've got the track exhaust, which track exhaust seems like pretty much a straight pipe. Track apps. So over here we can do rev match. We can do a launch control. We have a line lock. In order to use the line lock, you have to go in here and turn off your safety features like your what they call it, traction control. You have to go in here and turn off your traction control and there's one other thing you have to turn off, and then your line lock becomes available, and you can turn your line lock on. You have launch control, rev match. You have lap timers, launch settings, shift indicators. Like if you go to your launch setting here, I can adjust from 2,500 to 7,000 what RPM I want to leave at, like a uh,
I was having a brain fart. I was trying to think of two step, like an old school two step.
just put your foot to the floor, that kind of thing. Uh, Man, it's got so many things on here: accelerated timers, um, shift indicators. I can have the screen flash at me at whatever RPM I want, so that I know that it's time to shift. If I want to do that, you got brake performance here. You can come in here and do that stuff. I can't even describe all the stuff that's on here, but one of the things that is on here too is cluster theme. So you actually change the clusters over here. Right now it's on normal, but what if you're an old school guy and you want a classic 67 to 68 gauge? You just click this and it goes to the old school classic gauges. Or maybe you're a Fox body guy. So we'll click on the Fox body and we'll get the Fox body gauges in here. Uh, there's a lot of cool features in here. There's also track. So when you're at the track, you get your RPMs up here so you can see it. You'll have your gear shifter indicator, your miles per hour over there, but this is also where your shift light comes in and all of those things. Um, all that stuff is on here. There's stuff on here that I don't even know about yet, but the track stuff is the coolest thing for coming in here and doing launch control, uh, shift indicators, uh, the line lock, built-in line lock. It's amazing that the things that this thing has on it already. It's just mind blowing. And then of course this right here is quick access to a lot of those menus. You just hit a button and it comes right up. Of course, we love the 6-speed manual. And I haven't quite figured out all these buttons up here yet. As I said, I'm still learning on this thing. It's kind of a new adventure for me, and it's one that I've been fighting against for a lot of years. But in order to give all my YouTube fans something to grasp onto, it's time to get kicking and screaming in the modern world. But again, the Galaxy is not going anywhere because we got new parts coming this week for the Galaxy, and the Galaxy will be on the track very, very soon. So why a Mustang? So for me, it's that white whale, that unicorn, that thing that you always kind of had your hands on but never quite got. Uh, Mustangs are nothing special for a lot of people, but for a lot of people they are. Here's my story. When I was 14 years old, I acquired my first Mustang. It was a 67 Mustang. Wasn't very much money, but it had a motor and transmission, but the motor was locked down, transmission no good kind of thing. So I had this body, and I'd come home after school and I'd work on it. I would do what I could do, what I understood to do, and it was kind of my little project in the background. Well, when I got old enough to get my license, I got a hand-me-down car and went off to be a teenager, and the Mustang kind of got forgot about and eventually sold off. But I never forgot about the fact I wanted a Mustang. So I graduated high school. I'd already been working a couple of years by the time I graduated high school, but I graduated high school. What I wanted to do for a graduation present was I wanted to go out and buy me a new car. So I went that evening or the next evening to a local dealership close to where I grew up at. It's no longer there. Actually, that dealership's a church now. But I went to a local dealership close to where I grew up at, and I tried to buy a brand new Mustang. Um, I look older than I am. I'm really not that old. Uh, but it was an SN95. What is that? 90. What year is the SN95? 94 to 98, I think it is. somewhere in that range. I don't remember exactly, but it was that body style, like the 96, 7, 8, that body style Mustang. Um, I wanted one 5 liter. Of course, that time it's 5 speed, 5 liter, and I wanted one of those things. So I went and all the paperwork, got everything ready to go, and then they wouldn't finance it to me. Didn't have enough credit at that time. Not bad credit, just didn't have enough credit. Okay, whatever. So now we go down the road a few years, and I find I think it was a Fox body that I looked at. I went and test drove it. At that time, you could buy a Fox body compared to today's prices fairly cheap. The one I looked at was the GT. It was like the gray and blue paint scheme, 5 liter, 5 speed. I don't remember what year it was. It was after they went away from the 4i to that arrow nose style, probably early 90s. But I fell in love with that car because my cousin lived across the street from me, and she had gotten one of those cars when she graduated high school, and she didn't like it, so she just turned around and sold it. And I absolutely thought she was nuts. I loved that car. But I went and looked at one of them, and at that time, this thing was immaculate, and I could buy it for like $5,000. I mean, now you can't hardly buy a body for that, but that's beside the point. So went and looked at them, test drove it, and was going to try to get the money to buy it. Going to try to borrow the money because, well, $5,000 was cheap for a car by today's money, but back then $5,000 was, I mean, I was making like $6.50, $7 an hour. You know what I mean? So $5,000 was a lot of money. So I was going to try to get the money together. That was right around the time I think that I found out that I was going to be a dad. So kind of pushed those things aside. So we fast forward now a few years, and I bought a 67 Mustang again. Had it here for a while. I was going to make a project out of it. And my daughter was, at that time, we've fast forward probably like 12 years now. My daughter was into cars a little bit, so it was going to be a daddy-daughter project, and we started working on it, and she lost interest in it. So it kind of got pushed to the wayside, and eventually it got sold. Then she gets old enough to get her first car, so I sold a Jeep that I had, and I bought her a 98 Mustang GT convertible. Her car. So naturally, I drove it a couple times, but that was her car. She drove it for a little while. She actually won a car show, won an award at a car show with it, which was awesome. And then she promptly proceeded to hit a tree with it and total lost it. So there's been a bunch of Mustangs in my life, but I've never personally owned a Mustang that I could drive. It's kind of been that car I've chased my entire life, but for one reason or another, there was always some little something that just blew it out of the water and it wouldn't work. It's been one of those things that I've had a lot of great cars. I've had some monumental cars. I've had some cars that by today's standards are very rare and worth a lot of money. Wasn't at that point. But that Mustang, the one that everybody has one of, the one that's everywhere, the ones you see everywhere, that car for some reason always eluded me. So we were sitting around talking about it, me and my wife, and I'm not saying it was her idea because she would deny that in a heartbeat. But we were sitting around talking. We have the ramp truck now, so we don't have to tow a car trailer. My daughter's married now and has her own family. The family has downsized, so I don't need a 4-door now like I did when I had the 4-door truck. And we're getting to the point in our lives where me and my wife enjoy traveling a little bit and spending time together. So it made sense to me in my mind to now be the time to kind of dive in. Let me say this. I have never owned a new car in my life. Never had a new car. The closest thing I had was the F-150 that I bought, and it's nearly 10 years old. Now, it was the newest car I had ever owned, newest vehicle I'd ever owned, and that was a big move for me. It was kind of weird because I'd never owned a car that was financed before that truck. Never. Had no idea how that process even worked. Everything I've ever had was basically junk that I bought out of a field, and I fixed it up, made it what it was, and drove it. I'd never owned a financed vehicle before that truck. So that was a baby step into what now was a big step for me, owning my first brand new vehicle and making it that Mustang that I've chased for years. But here's where I'm going to need a lot of internet help. I know absolutely nothing about modern cars, nothing about them at all. I am an absolute dummy at them. I've never touched one. I've never rode in one. I don't know anything about them at all. I've had some people reach out to me and say, what's the first thing you're going to do to it? I don't know, because it's got everything I would want to do. When we were just talking through making this decision, I'm like, I wonder if it would void the warranty if I put a line lock on it, because we're going to take it to the track eventually and we're going to have some fun with it. So I wonder if it would void the warranty if I'd done that. And then I'm thinking, is there a way I can put, earlier I was trying to think of two-step. That was the word I was trying to think of. That's what that is on that car. It's kind of like a two-step. I'm like, I wonder if you can put a two-step on one of these, or how hard it would be. All this, it's all there. It's all already on the car. So last night a guy was like, he was talking to me. He's like, I know you'll think of something to put on it. And I'm like, tint the windows? I mean, at this point, I'm grasping at straws. There's nothing to do to the car. It's got so much already on it. But that's where you guys come in. I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there that have those cars, and they have discovered little ways that make them better. And I'd be interested in seeing or hearing what your ideas are. Drop them down there in the comments. Let me know what your ideas are. Right now, I can tell you that we're going to keep the car exactly like it is, and here's why. I've showed you the process through the Galaxy. You've seen the Galaxy. The guys that's been around, and gals, that's been around for a long time on this channel have seen that Galaxy go from basically a 30 over 390 to that big monster 460 plus cubic inch FE that's in it now. You've seen all iterations of it. You've seen that car when it was making 9-second passes, and you've seen that car make sub 7-second passes. You've seen all of it through it. You have not seen the motors in it now make passes, because I have not made a pass with the motors in it now, but there's new parts on the way for it. The point is, we've built that car here on the channel, and you've seen everything about it, and I've showed people how to do things on it, how to, what parts work best, what parts don't work, how to dial in suspension on one, I've showed you tons on that old school build that we've basically built from nothing to something. I want to do kind of similar with the Mustang, but on a smaller scale, because this is still going to be a daily driver car. So we're going to take it to the track in the near future, and we're going to make passes on it just like it is. What's a bone stock 2024 GT with that package deal on it actually run? I don't know. I have no idea. I was scrolling through some forums last night. There's a bunch of guys say that thing runs 750s in the 8th. Well, around here, all our tracks are 8 miles. A bunch of people say it runs 750s in the 8th. I don't know. And is that guys that are stick shift racers? Because I've stick shift raced most of my life, and I can tell you I've seen, and I'm not, please don't take this as negative. I'm not picking on anybody. It's just a different world. I've seen guys who are NHRA champions jump into a 4-speed stick shift car and run just horrible times and get outrun by novice, because racing a stick shift is way different than racing an automatic. So is these times I've seen online guys that really know how to stick shift race, or was that guys that were just playing with one who has never stick shift raced? So is the 750 times like that's what it's got, or is 750 times a starting point? Maybe it runs 40s or, you know, something along those lines. I don't know. I don't have any expectations of what it will run, but I would like for us to find out together. And then we can do little things like, okay, what if we switched up the to a different end, the cold to the different air system thing, not the cold air, but you know what I mean. But it's already got like that ram air set up on it. So again, I don't know what you could do to improve it because it has everything that would be an old school trick that you would do to one, like the ram air system. You know, back in the 60s, they had the scoops that came off and went to the inside headlights on cars to force air in them. That one kind of already has that. I mean, what can you do to improve it? I don't know. Maybe we change something simple like do a different tire on it and see what it'll do on, say, Mickey Thompson ET on the back instead of street tires on the back. Maybe we'll make little changes. I don't know yet what we'll do. I really don't, because I don't know enough about the car yet. I need to get more familiar with the car itself. We're still kind of in a dating process, and we've only really had our first meal right now. We hadn't got past that point yet. You know what I'm saying? We kind of got to get in here. But I'm going to have to rely heavily on guys that know these cars. So if you're a guy that knows these cars, or you know modern Coyote type engines and what they're capable of, maybe this car, since this car's at 500 because of some package, I imagine that it's probably something that somebody tingle-tackled on the keyboard to get that extra 18 horsepower, because I don't see anything different about it than the car that was sitting right beside it. Maybe there's something simple that you turn on or turn off, or something you do in one of those screens that's on it that gives it another 18 horsepower. I don't know. But maybe you will. So this video was to show you the new addition to the family, and that we are going to use this car as a driver, and we are going to take this car to the track. It's going to happen at some point. I don't know when, but it's going to happen at some point. And I wanted the 6-speed so that if I want to take it to the track for a stick shift event, I can. So I have my Galaxy and I have that car. Now, as you know, we're trying to transition the Galaxy over to a drag and drive type car, and there's a few little things left to do on that, and you'll see that in an upcoming video, but we've got some new parts coming for it. Today was all about introducing you to the new addition to the family. Well, maybe I should, you know, we got to name all of our cars. Maybe I should just name this one Bad Decisions. I don't know yet. But as always, we got to pay for our bad decisions. So I can do that by you guys liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing. Share the videos. The more people that watch them, the easier it is for me to pay for this. Hey guys, I hope the Lord blesses you more today than he did yesterday. God bless each and every one of you. To him be the glory. Guys, we'll see you on the next one.
I'd say it's a nut job.